Sam O'Nella is back. Okay, so I've been waiting for this return for a very long time. I think we all have, actually. The last time he uploaded was 10 months ago, and before that, it was 3 years ago. What's crazy about Sam is I've been watching his videos for what seems like forever. I had no idea he's basically a history channel. Like, the videos are so good, it doesn't even really feel like history. The Dog Meat General.
Hey kids,
oh boy.
Today I've got another character study for you all.
Now, I have heard of this guy before.
In 1881, he was...
I mean, it's kind of hard to forget him once you've read his story. All right, here we go. 1881.
He was born into poverty in the Shandong region of China. His
So we're
father
talking
was a head
China
shaver.
today.
Not a barber, mind you. If a head shaver's a barber, then a ditch digger's an architect. He also moonlit as an alcoholic. His mom, meanwhile,
there we go. That was a big profession back in those days. I probably would have had that profession if I lived back then.
His mom, meanwhile, was a literal practicing witch and exorcist.
Nice.
Already a recipe for success.
Yes,
John joined a
I
group
can
of
see.
roving bandits at age 20, as one does. Right around the Xinhai Revolution.
I really wish I could do that at the age of 20. Just join a group of bandits. Okay, this guy has a great start, obviously.
Zhang joined a group of roving bandits at age 20, as one does, right around the Xinhai Revolution, where the Qing dynasty was overthrown and the Republic of China was established. But in
So
1916, the kidneys
Qing
of
dynasty.
the nation's widely disliked monarchist leader done shat the bed, causing a power vacuum that ultimately led to what is known as the
Warlord era, also just known as Chinese history in general. The amount of times this has happened in China's history is unbelievable. I mean, maybe not exactly like this, but just civil wars.
Warlord era of the Republic. During
Yes,
this time,
so-
different regions of China were constantly shifting hands between a collection of separate military groups, all of whom were ruthless both to each other and to the people they ruled over.
Yep,
And through charisma,
until Japan
favors to the right
comes.
people, and a keen sense of military pragmatism, our humble highwayman soon came to be one of these warlords. Now, Zhang
I don't know exactly if we're going to be talking about Imperial Japan, but that's a kind of a crucial part of the Chinese warlord era.
killed as the leader of war. After the Russian Civil War, he recruited thousands of fleeing white Russians, not beverages, but Bolshevik butchers, which bolstered his battalions and brought big bonuses to his bloodshed. He also made
So not a fan of the communists, I guess you could say?
After the Russian Civil War, he recruited thousands of fleeing white Russians, not beverages, but
'cause,
Bolshevik butchers, which bolstered
yeah, remember white Russia was not the Bolsheviks. But remember the white movement functioned as just kind of a big tent political movement representing a lot of different things just against the Bolsheviks, which obviously the Bolsheviks won, but
He also made efficient use of armored trains, which proved to be
That's
highly cost-effective at transporting large amounts of troops
terrifying.
and supplies. But that's not what you people care about. You want some clownage. Well, rest assured,
Horrifying.
Zhang was quite the character. Now, we all know
Thomas
the age-old
the Train.
debate between positive and negative reinforcement. On the one hand,
Okay.
if you treat people well, you'll probably get the same treatment back later down
Scratch
the line.
back.
But on the other hand, nobody's ever taught a tiger to jump through flaming hoops with just pets and temptations. And if you think that's messed up, that's because, well, yeah, it is. Circuses
go.
are fucking evil. But like all great leaders, Zhang knew how to appropriately apply both the carrot and the stick. As an example
Nice.
of the former, he defeated the forces of enemy General Wu Peifu largely by convincing members of his army to defect, with the promise that they could keep their original rank after switching sides, which he fulfilled.
And-
but then he was
oh.
like, yeah, I don't know if my loyal men would be too happy about being outranked by strangers.
So
well,
then-
only one solution here. All my guys are ranking up. Problem was, so many officers were promoted that Zhang literally ran out of gold and silver to make new insignias. He was like, I gotta think about this. Went out for a smoke, looked down, hey, wait a minute. And had the rest of the emblems made out of the colorful foil found in cigarette packages. It said that
wow, genius. I could have never thought of that. And I already know what you're wondering. Yes, he can be found in Hoi-Fort.
And had the rest
I'm
of the
so
emblems
scared
made
of the
out
dog
of the
meat
colorful foil
parts.
found in cigarette packages. It said
'Cause-
that during the promotion ceremony, people would look down and notice
interesting-
their little star already had a rip in it before the event was even over. But
Don't
hey,
even
there's
worry
still
about
a
that.
colonel or poobah or whatever now, they can't complain. On another occasion, he proudly
That's all
announced
matters.
that he would either win an upcoming battle or return home in his coffin. And though Zhang was many things, he was not a liar. So after he ended up
Okay.
retreating,
Oh,
his
no
men
way.
paraded him through the streets
I didn't
in a
hear this
casket
story.
while he waved and sheafed on a cigar. So you're probably wondering why they
I
called
mean,
him the dog meat
pretty
general.
le-
At this point, my
pretty
head was
interesting. I was gonna say legendary, but I don't know.
fantasies about him eating dog flesh or wearing dog flesh or eating dog flesh. Turns out, nah, he was just real into pai gao, of which the act of playing was
Dominoes.
colloquially referred to as eating dog meat. And also because he ate dogs. He was also sometimes jokingly referred to as the three don't knows, since he didn't know how much money he had, how many concubines he had, or how many men were in his army.
Those are some 3 things that you should know, but maybe you don't need to.
There was some truth to the nickname, which did sometimes cause issues. Some were minor. For one, he had a lot of trouble remembering the names of the 30 to 50 women of all nationalities in his harem, but he got around this by just assigning them numbers. Number 4 is
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing.
27 makes a killer quiche. Watch out for 14, she's a biter, and so forth.
I'm actually just, I can disbelieve. It's like prison, I guess. You just get numbers.
Things got a little more dire. Later in his career, Zhang became the military governor of the province of Shandong.
Very
and while
nice.
the warlord life suited him, domestic affairs were another story.
So, if anyone is wondering, he did not live long enough to see the Japanese, like, invasion, really. He just barely missed that.
Human rights violations aside, the whole thing was just way poorly managed. For example, while Zhang did collect taxes on everything from theater performances to tobacco examination licenses, relatively little of his extortions went towards his war efforts or anything practical, with most of it being funneled into vanity projects and his own personal riches. So how did he fund his...
I guess I should be more specific. Just never mind.
Well, for those playing at home, it's time to take a shot, because Zhang printed tens of millions of dollars worth of paper money in the form of military stamps with no reserve to back them up. Obviously, massive inflation ensued. But
honestly, this is all Sam Monella needed to drop, and I think everyone would have been happy with his return. He didn't have to make a 7-minute video. He just needed to drop this image.
Of military stamps with no reserve to back them up. Obviously, massive inflation ensued, but Zhang just said no. Insisted the stamps had a 1-to-1 conversion with real money and continued paying his men at the same rate. Fortunately for them, the invisible hand of the market is no match for the very visible fist of the soldier, because they just kick old merchant ladies' asses till they accepted the currency at face value.
There you go.
Unfortunately, kicking old ladies' asses can't solve everything. In the summer of 1927, Shandong was hit with a famine caused primarily by drought. At the time, many people prayed to Zhongxian, a folk deity, in an attempt to bring rain to these crusty lands. But Zhang Zhongxiang, he don't get on his knees for nobody. He walked right up to the statue in Xian's temple, starts bitch slapping it, tells it to go fornicate with its sister, and then has his artillery crew fire shells straight into the sky for hours on end to show that god who he's dealing with.
Interesting character.
Sources differ on when the next rain was, but it did eventually rain. So in the end, Zhongxiang got the last laugh.
He won.
Speaking of which, our boy was also a renowned poet. Here's a piece he wrote about that very event. The sky god is also named Zhang. Why does he make life hard for me? If it doesn't rain in 3 days, I'll demolish your temple. Then I'll have cannons bombard your mom. Truly prophetic.
Is that where your mom jokes came from? Was it this guy? That would make a lot of sense. He made the first, I'm sure it wasn't the first your mama joke, but the first in 1927.
Got a few other good ones too. Let me just dim the lights real quick. Yeah. This one's called Visiting Mount Tai. From afar, Mount Tai looks blackish, narrow on top and wide at the bottom. If you flipped it upside down, it would be narrow at the bottom and wide on top. I like that one a lot, because it's like he heard about metaphors without realizing they're supposed to have a second meaning.
I'm wondering if there's something like lost in translation here. I want to believe that, but I don't think so.
Titled Poem About Bastards. You tell me to do this, he tells me to do that. You are all bastards, go f*** your mother.
Well,
poignant. But unlike most
there
poets,
you go. Time magazine actually dubbed him as the basest warlord. They're calling him based, and they called him based almost 100 years ago. He really did have quite the nicknames: Dogmeat General, 72 Cannon Chang, the 3 don't knows. That's pretty classic.
Unlike most poets besides E.E. Cummings and Emily Dickinson, Zhang was quite well endowed. He was often referred to as General 86, as when Zhang Jr. stood up straight, he could reportedly reach the length of 86 Mexican silver dollars stacked atop one another. Given a thickness of 2.4 millimeters, this would put him at around 20.6 centimeters or 8.1 inches. That's especially impressive given that he was likely malnourished during puberty due to both poverty and the 1896 famine. I thought of a few other jokes about this, but I couldn't fit them in the narrative, so I'll just rattle them off. Should have been called the horse meat general. When he got out of the pool, he was General 12. This one just says Dong Hung Dong. You get the point. But all great things must eventually come to an end. After suffering a series of defeats at the hands of his enemies and a subsequent failed rebellion against...
I just realized maybe there could have been a universe. I mean, he would have had to have lived like till his 70s, but there could have been a universe where this guy unites the ROC. Remember that the warlord era happens, then the Japanese occupation begins, chaos erupts over here, so all of China unites briefly to kick out the Japanese, then the Chinese Civil War starts again. I mean, even though he was from this province, there's got to be a universe out there where he was leading the nationalists, and then from there, like with this guy in charge, does he win? Maybe with his chaotic antics, can he beat the communists and Mao Zedong? I don't know if the world would be ready for a Federal Republic of China and him at the lead. Obviously, this is like super far-fetched, but it's interesting to think about.
After suffering a series of defeats at the hands of his enemies and a subsequent failed rebellion against a quickly reunifying China, Zhang was forced to run away in 1928, bringing his mom with him to Bethlehem, Japan.
He went to Japan?
His time here was relatively uneventful, except for when he shot a former prince in the back for trying it on with one of his concubines. In court, he said the gun just happened to go off while he was pointing it at the center of the guy's mask. For some reason, they're like, nothing suspicious here. Gave him the choice between 15 days in prison.
I mean, it was Japan in the 1930s or 40s. I think they had bigger things that they're worried about, taking over all of the Pacific.
Here gave him the choice between 15 days in prison or a $150 fine. He chose the latter. Zhong's story finally came to an end in 1932 when he went back to Shandong not as a conqueror but as a visitor. Unfortunately, it seems it takes people more than 4 years to get over murder because he was unceremoniously assassinated by the nephew of an officer that he had executed.
Oh, dang.
All in all, Zhong left behind quite a strange legacy.
Talk about a grudge.
Given the litany of horrible crimes that I've seemed to kind of gloss over, he's generally regarded as the stinkiest stain of an already messy portion of the tapestry that is Chinese history. The only remaining question is if one can truly separate the art from the artist. During his rule, Time magazine described him as China's basest warlord. I'll let you decide whether or not they forgot the DE. That's all for today. Till
I'm
next
still
time,
confused
I'm
what that
Salmonella,
even was supposed to mean. What was Time magazine saying with that? What does that mean? Without morals or principles based. Now, he was alive during the Japanese invasion of Manchukuo or Manchuria, and he wasn't a fan of that. He said that he was going to stop that. In fact, supposedly that is why he returned to China after being in Japan to stop what was going on in this Japanese occupied territory. And that ended up being his demise. Apparently the last things he said was no good. Those would be some epic words. I want to use that. I'm going to say no bueno though, as I'm bleeding out. I'm stupid for laughing at my own joke. The dude that oofed this guy also wasn't imprisoned. They pardoned him. That's how you know this guy made a lot of enemies, obviously. One of his many nicknames was just Monster, also the Great General of Justice and Might, and the General with 3 long legs. I do not have the slightest idea what he was doing, but he is considered to have been a part of the Russo-Japanese War. This Chinese warlord was a part of the Russo-Japanese War. I guess that's where he found all those white Russians. Seems like the type of guy that just kind of followed the chaos, or maybe the chaos just followed him. If you aren't already, please go subscribe to Sam. Feels like a blessing from the heavens when he drops new videos. Big thanks to my patrons. Destiny 9000. Drew needs to pay his taxes. Why am I doing this? JohnDenver,
I'm the kidnapper.
Jack
Traven's
annoying
paid his
friends.
ransom. This channel's not run by
InquisitorXarius,
Caleb,
Australia is real. I am not a paid actor.
Luxembourg,
November 5610.
Patrick
Rye, the
subscribe
Pie,
to
the
DestineyF,
Mexican
Twickenhamster.
Become a patron by checking the description down below.